Now here are the categories: the story thus far, going deep, symbolism, setting, and tidbits. Daisy?
I would like to try the story thus far for 100.
Alright, what happened to Dr. Manette after Carton and Lucy get married and leave for their honeymoon?
He falls ill for 10 days and requires assistance from Mr. Lorry and Mrs. Pross.
Right, correct.
Symbolism for 100.
Okay, what does Madame Defarge's knitting symbolize? Time has run out. Kyle?
Madame Defarge's knitting represents the cold-blooded vengeance of the revolutionaries. I would like symbolism for 200, please.
Alright, what does the spilling of the wine represent?
The spilling of the wine represents the early bloodshed of the French Revolution.
Alright, correct again.
Can we get tidbits for 200?
Alright, how does the Marquise die? Time's up.
The Marquis is found with a knife through his heart. A note was attached to the knife saying, "Drive him fast to his tomb." This from Jack.
Alright, correct. And we've had our first question theft of the night.
Can we get going deep for 300?
We can, right after this commercial break. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Daisy has chosen tidbits for 200. What is Defarge's reaction to Madame Defarge wanting to help in the storming of the Bastille?
He gives her a weapon and then gives her a place to attack from.
Correct. Someone has been drinking their wine, huh? Daisy, back to you. Oh no, you know what that means, the death round. Each player will be given equal opportunity to answer the hardest question not on the board. If they can answer in 30 seconds, their current winnings will be doubled. Daisy, we'll begin with you. There have been many accounts written about the events of which you have all majored in. In one very specific piece of literature, written by a historian named Charles Dickens in 1859, there is an obvious narrator speaking as if these real historical events were happening around them. Who can this narrator be assumed as being, and what is their attitude towards our historical characters? Go!
Well, the narrator is... he is a narrator, that's for sure.
Ooh, so close. It can be assumed to be Charles Dickens himself, but that only answers half of the question. Alright, Kyle, if you can guess the second half of the question, your winnings will be increased by half, and I'll put you in the lead.
The narrator is obviously sympathetic towards the good characters, such as Carton, Charles Darnay, Lucy, as well as Dr. Manette. However, the narrator is not kind, and I'd go as far as saying he's critical of such characters as Madame Defarge, but he does understand that these characters were shaped through starvation, circumstance, and oppression.
Wow, correct. This now puts you in the lead of
$250.
Alright, folks, now here's a quick commercial break.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. It's fun and easy.
I've dropped a stitch. Cursed arrow.
Today, we're here on the streets of Paris, France, investigating reports of a haunting that dates back centuries. On the same street, hundreds died between 1789 and 1799 during the French Revolution. Many were executed by the guillotine. The most popular spirit reported on these streets is Dr. Manette, who is rumored to have his ghost still attached to his shoemaking bench, of which he labored while imprisoned in the Bastille. It is said that the bench represents his mental imprisonment even after his freedom. Next, we have Sidney Carton. Carton is said to haunt the location of which he sacrificed his life by taking the place of Charles Darnay, losing his life as well as his head to the guillotine. However, contradicting statements settle around the town, as many believe that Carton was the embodiment of self-forgiveness and sacrifice. Lastly, we have the spirit of a man named Jerry Cruncher, who is believed to be the human entity of corruption that comes with greed. People have reported hearing the sounds of an entity walking back and forth, the sounds of loud digging, and even a human-like entity appearing in the streets. Let's see what we'll find.
I saw the man. The entity. The one rumored to walk around these streets. I saw him. My own 2 eyes. He haunts these streets, I tell you. He haunts these streets.
My name is Zach Baggis, and I'm here on the streets of Paris, France, where the sun just set and our adventure is about to begin. Right here we have our Ghost EMT. We flip that on and Ghost will be able to talk to us through this static electricity. We'll keep that on, maybe put it somewhere, see if we can record some EMS. This is supposedly the spot where Sidney Carton was beheaded. Wow, we got some audio on our EMT device. Let's see what it says. Wow, did you guys hear that? I'll clear up the footage so you can hear it better. One major theme in The Tale of Two Cities is justice. A form of justice is brought to the poor of France in their bloody revolt against the cruel aristocrats. Justice is brought to a man whose child was killed by the Marquise through the Marquise's murder, and justice was brought to Lucy and Charles Darnay for the wrongful death sentence of Charles and the attempted accusation of Lucy and her daughter through Madame Defarge's death. Wow, 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 wow. Alright, we're gonna go to our next zone. Our next zone is where supposedly there have been many footsteps heard pacing the streets. And these footsteps could be those of Dr. Manette. What was that? Oh my god. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Someone's here. Okay. Okay. Dr. Manette, if you can hear us, give us a sign. Do you hear anything? I'm not hearing anything. Okay, what we're using right now is the cutting edge of ghost technology. Right here is a ghost radar app. Ghosts can manipulate the magnetic fields around this device, and we will be able to have it communicate with us. What's that? The Marquise in The Tale of Two Cities can be seen as the perfect example of the entire aristocracy of France, being cruel and unsympathetic towards the poor. I don't think we're getting anything. I think we might have scared them off. I think we might have scared them off. So we're gonna go check.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Mesqua, and today I'll be going over the author style in the book Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. Alright, one thing I'm going to focus primarily on is how Charles Dickens tends to bring his book to life to the audience by the length of his pages, and how he uses syntax and sentence structure in general to convey the emotion that he wants his audience to feel. Alright, for example, earlier on in the book, there's a court case that goes on between a couple of characters, like Charles Darnay and stuff like that. If you read the book, you will know who those people are. Basically, there's a certain conversation that goes around, and when I was reading it, I was like, this thing is taking forever. When is this conversation going to end? And what I noticed is that's what Charles Dickens specifically wants us to feel. He wants his audience to feel, oh my god, this court case is taking forever. Someone shoot me. I want to skip this part. Lord help me. Alright. But the way he writes the sentences, he doesn't really use short sentences, or he just talks from quote to quote to quote to quote, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You just get pure conversation to this. Slight commentary after the quotes, but that's pretty much it. But later on in the book, when there's the storming of the Bastille with a couple of characters like the Defarges, you notice that the sentence structure tends to change. Alright, a couple of ways that the sentence structure tends to change is, instead of using long, dragged out sentences, he uses more short sentences. He uses cumulative sentences like, oh, this is going on, and this is going on, and the Bastille looked like this, and there were stone walls, and there was bridges, and then there was more bridges, and the readers get that feeling of, oh my god, this stuff's about to go down. And so, the way that he conveys that emotion to us is through syntax itself, through his sentence structure and the choice of adjectives that he's using. We just get that feeling of, oh, adrenaline rushing. We are in the setting itself through Charles Dickens' point of view, or well, technically in this case through the character's point of view. Alright, another example of how Charles Dickens creates emotion in his audience through his writing is the storming of the Bastille. In this section, it's not really a long chapter, it's really the second half of a certain chapter. He uses sentences like the prisoners, the records, the secret cells, the instruments of torture, the prisoners. It's all just a bunch of madness, and he uses short sentences and cumulative sentences and very short dialogue to create an emotion of madness. He uses all these short sentences to create an adrenaline rush in his audience, similar to what the characters are feeling right now in the storming of the Bastille.
Divorce court is now in session.
For this couple, you're about to meet disjointment and perplexity brought them to court today.
Divorce court is now in session.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have Charles Dickens and Daisy. How long have you two been married?
Almost a full semester.
Really, almost a full semester, and you're already getting divorced.
Yes.
Right, Daisy, you said that Charles was disjointed and speaks in choppy, chaotic sentences. What do you mean by that?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
Would you care to explain?
Can I start off with I love my husband? Well, I love my husband, and we met in a wine shop. But the wine shop turned out to be the Defarge Revolutionary Front, and he never really told me that up front. And after that, we were sometimes in a safe haven of London, or running through blood-soaked streets of Paris. Then he showed me just how different they were, but how alike they were too. The graveyards showed me that the working man was reduced to something so low. And watching fire after fire be set under each chateau, he told me the revolution had ignited all over France. But the first thing that caught my attention was what he said. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. And you know, that line, that simple line intrigued me to want to know more about him.
What did you find compelling about him?
I don't know. I guess I just wanted to know what made him say that. What made him so different.
Go.
Alright, Mr. Charles, what was your initial attraction towards Daisy?
I mean, look at her. She's beautiful. What really intrigued me was the conversations we had.
What do you mean by conversations?
Our conversations were never boring. We always had something to talk about. And I fell in love.
Well, it sounds like a beautiful beginning, as always. But Daisy said that you were too disjointed.
Yes, that's true.
That's absurd.
Explain it to me, Daisy.
Yeah, he makes absolutely no sense. For example, as a revolutionary stormed the streets, Charles became very disconnected when he was accounting and summarizing the events.
Is any of that true, Charles?
Well, she's not wrong.
You seem very attentive and analytic, Daisy.
Yes, of course. If something doesn't seem right to me, I definitely question it.
Alright, what I see here are two decent people, not bad people, not evil people, but people without direction. You don't have a moral compass, you just got married.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I grant you both a divorce.
Stop being such a what?